Today I'm going to be firing up the forge, burning that in, which I think you're meant to do. I don't really know, I haven't seen exactly why, but I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to start on the anvil necessary when you're wanting to forge something, which is the end goal of this, obviously. Why else build a forge? I had to get my steel cut down at the shop. I tried to cut it on my little chop saw way back here, but being 50mm solid square, the poor little Ryobi didn't really handle that too well. So I ended up having to go down to the steel shop and get them to cut some lengths for me with their bandsaw. I guess I'm just gonna fire up the forge. Also, in my first video I posted, I said that I'm gonna try to get fit and healthy. I caved. Okay, so here's the steel that I had cut for me by the steel shop. That little groove there, that groove there, was where my Ryobi tried to cut through. Had no luck though. So to fix that, we'll turn it upside down and pretend it doesn't exist. What I want to do for my anvil is essentially have that. That's good enough for me. I'm gonna dub over this. Alright, that's me finished filling it. I'm down to my last electrode. So there's some valleys, but it's gonna have to do for now. I'm gonna just let that cool off and grind it down. That's as good a place as any to stop. I'm down to my last 2 electrodes, so I can't really do much more work. The anvil itself, sitting just here, is still, it's still too hot to touch. So I'm not going to grind on it or anything like that. I can't do much more. I've ground off the bevels. Ooh, that one's warm. Ground off the bevels onto these, which I will stick together at some point tomorrow. I don't know, I guess it's the next day. Originally I was going to leave the anvil as I left it yesterday, call it done, grind it flat, but looking at it this morning, I'm not very satisfied with the end result, so I'm probably gonna grind all my welds down and see where they valley, and then build it up some more with some more welds. I bought myself some new electrodes today, so I guess I'm just gonna get straight into it. Alright, I'm gonna call it a day there. I've been up since 1 this morning. It's now 4:32 p.m. My brain's just stopped working now. I have to figure out how to mount this anvil in a way that stops it from ringing so loud when you hit on it. Pretty noisy. Looks good though. I'm happy with the way that's turning out. I guess I'll continue on with it tomorrow. Catch you then. Alright, well, it's been 2 or 3 days since the last clip that you were just watching. Had a little bit of a mishap with some machinery, which resulted in me taking a couple of blades through the fingernails into my fingers, which wasn't very pleasant. So I decided that hammering on things and cutting into things probably wasn't a good idea. I've made zero progress. I decided to come out here again today, and as I walked in here, I realized that I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to mount the anvil to the stump that I was going to. No idea whatsoever. Oh well, I'll figure it out as I go, I suppose. So I'm just going to plod along, see what ideas I come up with. Might be onto something here, I'm not sure. Cut a piece of this sleeper to roughly the same size as this. Thinking of drilling hole through this into this, tap this hole at a 10 mil so that I can put this up, bolt it into the hole that's in here, which will snug this up against here pretty well, I think. It's the only idea I can come up with. I'm not really sure how to secure wood to metal. Little screws I don't think are going to hold up to the beating too well. Then I just have to figure out how to secure this to this, which might be a case of that and just timber screws or something. I'm Not too sure. First, this. There we have it, 4 holes. This one here is going to be an M8 bolt instead of an M10. I've only got 3 M10s. Inconvenient. So now I gotta measure how far out these stick. That way I can figure out how much of a rebate recess countersink I need to do into that timber. This bolt might be too long. That's better. This one looks like it's a little bit funky, but who gives a... Doesn't really matter. I mean, I probably won't forget, but that's the smaller bolt. I forgot to switch that off. That's a problem. Sit this on the bolt, wind it down, the prong hits the base, and I know that that is 34.2 millimeters from here to the top, and I want it to sit flush with this, and that one's 40, bang on, 40, 40. Let me think about this. All right, I think I figured it out. Measure the depth of these holes, 15.17 mil, 15.9. I'm not a machinist either, so bear with my inaccuracy, lack of accuracy. 16, 15, 16, 16, 15 millimeters. And then I want to recess this the same amount, except less, because what I want it to do is hit the wood in our recess before it bottoms out in the thread. That way it really pulls the wood down into the anvil and clamps it nice and tight. So I'm probably going to go 5 mil less. So if it says 15, I'll go 10 mil deep. 16, I'll go 11 mil deep. I think that'll work. Now we have to hope that I lined all this up correctly. Yeah, my measurements are off. That's pretty neat. Don't even know if any of these line up. Yep, that one's off. That one's slightly off. And oh goodness, that one's way off. Oh goodness. Crap. Okay, we can relax. I got it sorted. It's not square anymore, but it'll be alright. All I did was drill out the holes a bit bigger so that the thread in the steel was perfectly visible. Nothing getting in the way. There we go. That's on there pretty good. Alright, no, not alright. Timber, steel, very solid, curious. not too much ringing, which is pretty good. Just need to figure out how to stick the sleeper into the log. So I think what I'll do, using some angle iron, 90 degree, it's going to cut a length, put some screws through, then put some screws down and call it a day. There we have it. That is a makeshift scrap cheap anvil. I mean, I can't say for sure how much it cost. I've had the sleepers sitting out the backyard for a while. This angle iron I've had for a while. The screws, 5 packs of 150 for what, 15 bucks. The steel in total, the square tube cost me I think 75 by the time I had to pay $5 per bandsaw cut. The round stop, that was about 50 bucks. It's $100 and something, which you can buy them for, but good luck finding one. I wasn't able to, not locally anyway. If I bought one online for 150 bucks, the freight on it was shocking. Besides, this gave me some work time. I've been looking for a project, so. Alright, I guess that's, that'll be that. I'd call that a successful day. I now have forge and an anvil, which means that my next video should hopefully be my first attempt at forging something, which I am super excited about. I've loved the idea of blacksmithing since I was a kid. Always loved sword making and armor and all that sort of thing growing up. So this is very exciting to me. I can't wait. The anvil itself, it's just made of mild steel, nothing hardened or anything like that. From my research, keeping it as a mild steel is the way to go for beginners. It's not going to be hardened. That means when I do miss my strikes with the hammer, which I'm sure I'm going to do, I'm not really risking any chips flying off of the anvil at high speed, which apparently can be pretty dangerous. Again, I've got no experience, no knowledge, other than watching a few YouTube videos, but this is something I'm pretty keen on. Took me a lot longer to build the forge and the anvil. I don't know about the longevity. I don't know how long the anvil's gonna last the way I've built it. Screwed in willy-nilly, whatnot, not welded to a steel stand or whatever. So I don't know how well the screws and the timber is gonna hold up to hammer strikes. I think it should be alright for a fairly long time. Whenever it was done on the cheap with some scrap. But I guess that's it. Thanks for joining me, I guess. Thanks for watching. Next video, forging.